The Chicago Sky continue to go through a rough part of their season, probably the roughest part, bringing into question, are they going to be able to pull it together enough to make the playoffs? Their coach seems to think so. We're going to talk about the game against the Storm and how the Sky lost that game. Then we're also going to get into previewing the game against the Mercury and go around the W. We're going to get to all that and more right after this.
Welcome to Chicago Sky Central, and here's your host, Haize.
What's going on, Sky fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Sky Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Sky related. I'm the host here, Haize. You guys can follow me right off the top at CEO Haize. That's CEO Haize. You can also follow the channel at Chicago Sky Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the content for today. First up, the Chicago Sky lost against the bottom of the league Seattle Storm. Now, this was a rough game to watch. The Sky looked good at points of it initially early on into the game. It looked like the Sky were going to take care of business like they needed to do against a team that is just not the team they are. And that's just what it boils down to. The Seattle Storm should not be a team that the Chicago Sky should struggle very much with. But unfortunately, where do we find ourselves? Struggling against the Seattle Storm. And the game of this specifically is told by the third quarter. The Chicago Sky played a terrible third quarter of basketball, losing the third quarter 25-13, then winning every other quarter. End up winning the second and the fourth quarters, losing the first and the third. And the Sky just did not execute well enough down the stretch of the game, specifically defensively, to be able to win this game, in my opinion. I wish I could say that I was surprised that the Chicago Sky lost this game, but I'm not. When you look at Jewel Lloyd, she came in this game 5 of 14, leading her team. No, I'm sorry, she was second in her team in scoring at 15 points. But it's just the defense of the Chicago Sky. Me and Steve-O have talked about it a few times now when it comes to this team. If this team is going to win basketball games, it has to come through efficient shooting on the offensive side of the ball, playing smart there, limiting turnovers, but then playing solid defense, patrolling the paint, those type of things. You look at Kalia Copper, she led the team in scoring with 17 points. Dana Evans was the next largest scorer with 12 points off the bench. She had Ruthie Hibbert as well. In her a handful of games she's returned, her highest scoring output, 9 points in 10 minutes did she have. But despite some of the performances, Elena Smith again with another double-digit performance. Courtney Williams with 10 as well. Marina Mabry only had 5 points in this game, going 2 of 9. Again, not all on her. Things happen. And overall, just the Sky just did not take care of the basketball. They did not execute well enough defensively. At times, they looked lethargic out there. It seemed like the Seattle Storm just really wanted it a little bit more than we did at times, and that's why this game ended up going the way that it did. Both teams didn't shoot the ball are great, right? When you look at the Sky, 27 of 66 for 40%. The Storm in this game, 33 of 79 for 41%. Both teams shot bad from three-point range. 7 of 26 were the Storm. The Chicago Sky were 5 of 20. We just did not do enough of the things or take care of enough of the things to win this basketball game. We got out-rebounded by almost 20 in this game. That's not going to cut it at all. We had 10 turnovers in this game. Yes, that was less than the Seattle Storm's 13 turnovers, but we just did not execute well enough. And that's the biggest concern with the Chicago Sky team, especially when you're looking at a team that should be trying to make the playoffs. They don't seem like they have it. It doesn't seem like they've had it so far, and it's been evident, and you can feel it. And that's just left this team to just look bad at times. When you look at our interim coach, Ernie had this to say. That he's confident the team will put it together. The team is capable of beating anybody. We showed that a couple of days ago. It didn't just reflect in the score. We're now tied with the Sparks. Me and Steve-O talked about how important that little bit of lead that we had over the Sparks was to help the Sky make the playoffs. And now that's starting to be called into question if that's even going to be enough. The Sky just aren't winning basketball games at a rate to support us winning. We have a 37 win percentage right now. That's not going to cut it. Both us and the Sparks, both at 9 and 15. And it's going to be who's going to be able to come out on top with the rest of the record they have left to be able to get that last playoff spot. And, there's still enough of the season left. When you look, we're 24 games into the season of a 40-game season. We have plenty of games left to try to turn it around and push some things. But the Sky can't keep taking things for granted. They have to act like they understand the importance of every moment that they're out there. They are fighting for their playoff lives if this team is trying to make the playoffs. Like, I think that they are, and I think that they should be, right? This is not that we don't have the draft picks. Tanking ain't going to work. We're still trying to figure out a way to keep Kalia Copper. So they have to figure it out. And so when you look at the Sky's upcoming record, we do have a game tomorrow against the 6-17 Phoenix Mercury. This is not going to be a team that's going to be an easy. No matter when you take their record, throw it away. It doesn't matter. This is a team that's played us tough already this season. We know Brittany Griner can get going, and if she does get going, it's tough. It's tough and difficult to guard anyone on that team. The Sky cannot come in with a lax defensively at all. They just cannot. And if they do, it's going to be over before it even really gets a chance to start. You got to keep Brittany Griner off the boards as much as possible. She leads that teams in rebounding at 6.7 rebounds. The next person up to her is Diana Taurasi, averaging 3 rebounds per game. We cannot allow the Phoenix Mercury to out-rebound us by 20 like the Seattle Storm did. And if the Sky want to win this game, we have to figure out a way to win the rebounding battle. Block some shots, patrol that paint where we can. Elizabeth Williams is going to be hugely important in this game. Also, let's hope that we can get a better output of some of our players. The Sky cannot take this game. I want to say that, but then you just never know what's going to happen at times with this team. That's something that we're going to have to watch. We're going to have to manage and see what happens when you have a player like Jewel Lloyd who's also leading their team in kind of a rebuild. Yes, they went differently about it. They're going to build through the draft for the next couple of years, but you cannot continue to overlook what's going on with these teams. You cannot keep coming in defensively and not stepping up. You have to do that. I want to see the Chicago Sky in this game against the Mercury make their presence felt defensively first. Yes, we have to score points. Kalia Copper, Marina Mabry, Courtney Williams, they have to get going. If we can get contributions from Morgan Birch, Elena Smith as well, of them shooting the ball effectively, that's going to help always. But I want to see the Sky come out specifically defensively in this game and take care of the ball on the offensive side of the ball. Limit those turnovers. Get in the passing lanes yourself to force some turnovers. Force some tough shots at the rim. That's mainly going to be on Elizabeth Williams and Elena Smith, and she gets a handful of blocks as well. We're going to have these ladies step up and perform big in what is everything now is a big-time game for the Chicago Sky. It's just that simple. Every game is a big game. If you want to make the playoffs, you cannot take it lightly at all. Every single game on the rest of our schedule is a game that you must compete in. We got the Dallas Wings coming up on Friday. We get a 5-day break. Then we just play Friday and Sunday against Dallas, in Dallas both times next week. But the Sky got to figure out, use this time off, use the extended time, figure some things out about your basketball team. That's what we need. We need to figure some things out about this team and see how we can correct the ship somewhat to get back to being in that playoff run. That's my thought. You guys can let me know what you think on all that down below. Now, before we go, I do want to talk about a couple of things. And first up, that is Dallas and just the run that the Dallas Wings are on, right? Coming into the season, me and Steve, we didn't really expect much from the Dallas Wings. And when you look at how they've really turned it around slowly but surely over the season, having the 4th best record in the WNBA right now, it's not anything that you can just overlook. When you look at the front court, right? Satu, Howard, and McCown, like, you cannot overlook those ladies. Like, they're killing it right now. And so while the Sky are just continuing to go on this run, beating some of the upper echelon teams, playing tough against them, building their confidence up, the Dallas Wings right now are going to make it a first-round series, and then if they make it into the second round as well, interesting on any team that they can possibly face, because it's not about to get any easier, right? And so the Wings, and just the way that they've come in and how they've been, outperforming teams like the Dream and the Minnesota Lynx, and just how they've been coming into it, the Dallas Wings have a chance, right? I'm going to give it a slight chance because I'm still going to give those 2 top teams that we know, the Aces and the Liberty, probably the rub there. But you cannot overlook the chance that the Dallas Wings have to play up, to have an upset in the first round of the playoffs. Well, in the second round of the playoffs, if they make it that far. The Dallas Wings are having a season that I've enjoyed to see. The rhythm that they've been playing with, the shooting that they've been doing over the last few games, shooting 62% as a team. You cannot overlook how these ladies are balling right now. And Dallas is just, they're playing on a level that I wish we could say our Sky were playing. They're executing team basketball well. They're coached very well. You can tell their coach really is trying to change the culture and kind of the mindset down there. They rebound. They do all the in-between things well and consistently. If you guys are outside of just watching Chicago Sky basketball, the Dallas Wings have been one of my favorite teams to watch this season on WNBA League Pass. it's been astounding to watch what they've done. And another team that's been astounding to watch is the New York Liberty. Like, they started off the season playing well as a team, but really Stewie's been bailing them out at times to begin the season, and now we're starting to see that cohesion come together between the New York Liberty. The Las Vegas Aces were kind of able to hit the ground and start running a little bit faster because that team was primarily together. They added Candace Parker and others to that team, but that was a team that already won the title. When you look at the New York Liberty and how they came together, Sluty and Sabrina had to figure out how to really play together and run that backcourt together, right? How to pick their times and when one needed to defer to the other. And then Stewie's just, like, she's been amazing this whole season, putting together an MVP season on top of all of that. The New York Liberty are another fun team to watch, and seeing just how a team goes through those growing pains, losing some games that people thought they wouldn't have lost early in the season, and how now they're just a really full, formalized vision of what that team was when they came together. And they still haven't seen the ceiling of that yet. They have not hit their ceiling yet. And the Liberty may be a team that end up peaking at the right time once that playoffs start. And I tell you what, that's going to make it dangerous on the Aces or anybody else in front of them. I can say all day how a team like the Dallas Wings could be an upsetter in the playoffs, but the New York Liberty, the way they're rocking and rolling, and we're going to get the Liberty versus the Aces in the Commissioner's Cup going down August 15th, what could be, and I hope is a preview of the WNBA Finals. Hey, it's going to be fun. It is going to be fun. This is one of the most exciting seasons. And just when you look at like the Aces and the attitude on those on that team and how they really do bring that star power and is bringing new eyes to the game, this is a tremendous year of growth for the WNBA. And I think when you look at it, coming off the back of that women's NCAA tournament that just everybody had their eyes to, I don't think the WNBA has done a perfect job at capitalizing off that, but they've done a well enough job that you can see it's working, right? And there are people and teams and other outlets that are really just, or I should say businesses and things that are really turning an eye on the WNBA. I just hope that the WNBA continues to build off this, and the Commissioner's Cup is going to be a must-see. I will not be surprised if the Commissioner's Cup breaks some viewership regular season records because everybody that I know is excited for it. Everybody's going to be tuned in, and they can't wait to see what the battle is going to be like between the two powerhouse teams in the WNBA. But that's my time for today. Make sure you guys are following the show at Chicago Sky Pod on every social media platform. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoSkyCentral@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for our mailbag episodes, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Sky related and WNBA related. And I'll see you guys the next time we go to Skytown. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.